what would happen? How does it work? Do people know exactly what they want when they come to you?
Sometimes they know exactly what they want. Sometimes I have to steer them in the right direction. So most people know that they either want to have a Feng Shui consult, which is done for a property or an apartment, and then others, they want to just have an astrology reading to see what the forecast is for the next few years in terms of career or wealth or health or whatever. And then some people just say, things are not really working out in my life, I'm not quite sure why, and then I ask a few questions and determine what would be the best approach to help them. So it's not that they have to book all 4 of those services that I offer. It really depends on what they struggle with.
Before we go into the 4 categories, or 4 pillars as I call them, can we try and understand what Chinese metaphysics is all about, where it originated from? Is it famous in the West? Are people now practicing Chinese metaphysics in the West?
Not really famous in the West. So obviously, as the name implies, it does come from China.
Yeah.
And the term Chinese metaphysics, or metaphysics in general, it's not really well known. Most people know just standalone techniques like Feng Shui. It's a very common thing. Most people know about that. But Chinese metaphysics is the umbrella term for things like Feng Shui, Chinese astrology, date selection, Qimen Dunja, but also TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, anything to do with acupuncture, face reading. So all of these systems or all of these disciplines are hosted under the umbrella of Chinese metaphysics.
Understood. How many years ago? Who's the pioneer of Chinese metaphysics? Do you know? And if you don't, that's okay.
Well, there's several. It depends really on which discipline.
Do you have a particular inspiration, or apart from your master that you found, anyone else that you look up to?
Well, the most famous one that is probably most well known to people is Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War.
Oh.
And he was a Chinese general and philosopher thousands of years back, and he penned that classic, the Art of War, which people still use nowadays. They study it at school when they study business and management. So it's actually still being used and taught at school. But what most people don't know is that all of the principles he talks about are actually rooted in the practical application of spiritual Qimen Dunja, and that is a metaphysics practice. There's several different aspects to Qimen Dunja. You can use it to meditate and manifest certain outcomes that you wish to have. You can use it in business to determine how you need to go into a negotiation, how you need to approach a particular competitor or a business launch. You can also use it in what we call warcraft. So if there is a crisis and you don't really know how to act in a particular crisis, you look at the Qimen Dunja system, you plot a chart, and the chart will give you advice on how you need to deal with it, what kind of people you need to surround yourself with, and how you need to act. There are many, many different layers to Qimen Dunja. The most accessible and easiest to access for people is just using it for meditation, manifestation, and just general grounding.